The Zephyrian fleet hung in space like jeweled daggers against the starfield, their crystalline hulls refracting the light of Earth's sun into prismatic rainbows. Admiral Kethvar observed the primitive blue world through the command decks. Bio-neural interface, his four eyes narrowing in what his species considered amusement. "Look at them," he chittered to his tactical officer. "Still burning chemical fuel to escape their gravity well. Their weapons are barely energy-based. This will be over before the next solar cycle." The Zephyrians had conquered 17 star systems in the past decade. Each species had fallen within days, some within hours. The pattern was always the same: demonstrate superior firepower, demand surrender, absorb the defeated civilization into the hegemony. The humans would be no different. Captain Sarah Chen of the UES Defiance watched the alien fleet through her bridge's main screen. The sleek vessels dwarfed Earth's hastily assembled defense force, 12 aging frigates and a handful of converted mining ships. Earth's finest technology looked like scrap metal compared to the elegant alien craft. "Admiral Thompson sends his regards," her communications officer reported. "The fleet is in position." Sarah nodded grimly. The plan was desperate, perhaps even suicidal. But humanity had one advantage the Zephyrians couldn't possibly understand. They had never learned to quit. The alien communication came through on all channels simultaneously, the translator rendering Kethvar's words in cold, mechanical tones. "Primitive humans, your resistance is futile. Surrender now and be absorbed into the hegemony. You will be permitted to continue existing as a client species." Sarah keyed her own transmitter. "This is Captain Chen of Earth Defense Force. Our answer is no." Kethvar's laughter was like breaking glass. "Then you choose extinction. Very well." The first volley from the Zephyrian fleet lit up the void. Plasma beams and particle accelerators reached across space toward the human ships. But instead of the expected annihilation, something strange happened. The human vessels scattered. Not in panic, but in perfect coordination. They moved with a fluid grace that seemed impossible for such crude technology. As the alien weapons fired, the human ships danced between the beams with split-second timing. "Impossible," Kethvar hissed. "Their reaction times—" "Sir," his sensor operator interrupted, "I'm reading massive quantum fluctuations from the human vessels. They're not using their engines for those maneuvers." On the bridge of the Defiance, Sarah smiled grimly as she felt the familiar tingle of neural interface activation. Around her, her crew's eyes had taken on a subtle golden glow, the sign of quantum consciousness enhancement. Humanity's real weapons weren't missiles or lasers. They were the weapons they'd been developing in secret for the past 50 years, ever since the first confirmed detection of alien intelligence. While other species had perfected technology, humans had perfected themselves. The neural enhancement network allowed the entire fleet to function as a single entity. Reaction times measured in microseconds. Predictive algorithms running on biological, quantum processors. Each human pilot was no longer just human. They were something more. Target their command ship, Sarah thought, and 11 other captains received the thought simultaneously. The human fleet moved like a school of fish, each vessel perfectly coordinated with the others. They wove through the alien formation, their primitive kinetic weapons striking with surgical precision. But these weren't ordinary projectiles. Each round was a marvel of nanotechnology, programmable matter that could reconfigure itself at the molecular level. Upon impact, they didn't simply explode. They learned. They adapted to alien hull composition in real time, finding weaknesses, exploiting structural flaws that no scanner could detect. Kethvar watched in growing horror as his fleet began taking damage. "How are they penetrating our shields?" "Sir, the projectiles, they're changing their properties mid-flight. It's like they're alive." But the humans weren't done. Sarah reached out through the network, touching the consciousness of Dr. Elena Vasquez aboard the research vessel Prometheus. "Elena, you're up." Dr. Vasquez had spent 20 years studying human empathy, emotion, and social bonds. Her breakthrough had been the weaponization of humanity's greatest strength, their ability to understand and predict other minds. Through the quantum network, Elena reached out to the Zephyrian fleet, not with weapons, but with understanding. She felt their thoughts, their fears, their tactical patterns. In seconds, she had mapped their entire command structure, identified their weaknesses, and shared that knowledge with every human pilot. The aliens had superior technology, but they fought as individuals. Humans fought as one organism with 12 bodies. Impossible, Kethvar whispered as his tactical displays showed human ships anticipating every move, countering every strategy before it was even fully formulated. "No species fights like this." "Because no species is like this," Sarah replied, somehow broadcasting directly into his mind. The Zephyrian admiral recoiled in shock. "You see us as primitive because you measure advancement by your tools. We measured it by ourselves." The human fleet pressed their advantage, but Sarah made a decision that would forever change galactic politics. Instead of destroying the alien vessels, the humans disabled them, surgically, precisely, with minimal casualties. Why? Kethvar transmitted as his ship's engines went dead, life support intact but weapons and shields offline. "Because that's what humans do," Sarah replied. "We don't destroy what we can save. We don't kill what we can teach." 3 hours later, Kethvar found himself in an impossible situation, sitting across from Sarah Chen in the Defiance's conference room, sharing what humans called coffee. "Your weapons," he said quietly, his voice filled with something between awe and terror. "I've never seen anything like them." "Our real weapons aren't what you think," Sarah explained. "They're not the neural networks or the smart ammunition or the quantum consciousness links. Those are just tools." "Then what?" Sarah smiled, an expression that somehow conveyed both warmth and determination. "Our real weapons are hope, ingenuity, and the absolute refusal to give up. You conquered 17 species because they fought you with the same tools you used. We fought you with something you don't have." "Which is?" "Each other." Kethvar stared at the human captain, beginning to understand why 17 conquests had failed to prepare him for this encounter. "What happens now?" "Now," Sarah said, "we talk. We learn. And maybe we find a way to make the galaxy a little better for everyone." As word of the battle spread throughout the galaxy, it carried a new message. Humanity had arrived, and they brought weapons no one expected. Compassion backed by unbreakable will, cooperation powered by individual excellence, and the terrifying gentleness of those who could destroy you but chose to understand you instead. The Zephyrian hegemony would never be the same. Neither would the galaxy.